I'm with Randy Garn. Prosper is a book that he wrote a few years ago. I think he's putting it back into play soon. Yep. And you probably will know him from a whole bunch of companies that he's involved with, speakers. I am proud to say he's a good friend. I've learned a ton from this man. He plays the long game, and he's a tremendous relationship builder and starter. Yep. How are you?
I'm doing awesome.
This is the first time you're on this program, right?
This is the first time.
That's just wrong. Where have you been?
I need to get out to New York more.
Well, tonight we got a little thing with Rudy.
We do.
If you're a Rudy fan, it's going to be unbelievable. Rudy's doing a one-man show. But also you were involved with, well, first of all, thanks. He flew in from Salt Lake City. Thank you. But also Rudy did a movie, a documentary.
Yeah, we just did a documentary with Nick Naton is the producer of it, and it's on Amazon Prime. It's really about the making of Rudy. Because if you've seen the movie Rudy, it's one of the most memorable and inspirational sports movies of all time.
Love it.
I mean, I cry every time.
Hold on. What's your favorite sports movie?
That would be a good question.
What's your favorite sports movie? Mine is Rudy, and then the second one is I don't know. It's a toss-up. I mean, I love Hoosiers.
I love Hoosiers,
but I also love Bull Durham. I mean, Bull Durham, Susan Sarandon. Oh man.
I love Remember the Titans too. I mean, that's another good one.
I think I was watching Remember the Titans for like the 300th time this weekend.
I mean, it's a great one. But for me, nothing has beat Rudy.
I love when he gets him running like at 4 in the morning and he shows him the battle of Gettysburg. That is a good one. How great is Denzel Washington?
He's the man, dude.
Are you with me on this?
Man.
Like, you got to tell me your favorite sports movie right now. I mean, and by the way, we'll pick a couple winners out, Ben, on this thing. But you got to tell me why. You got to give me a line out of that movie or something. Don't just throw a name of a sports movie. You got to give me the line or something, the motivation in the movie, and then we'll pick out a couple. If we have like a poster, we may have a.
How about we have Rudy sign a poster for him? We'll send it to the person that gets the best answer. We'll have Rudy sign a poster and we'll ship it to him.
You're 5'0".
100 and nothing. I love it.
How great is he? Just climbing through the window. I love that movie. I get all fired up.
Yeah. And we're going to be with him in about an hour. Yeah. We're going to pick him up.
I can't never spend enough time with Rudy, honestly.
He's a good man.
He's just instant motivation.
Yeah.
What's up with you, man? You're up to so many things. Tell me what's good. By the way, Drew, did we do something good today? Tell me something good.
Of course.
Are you liking that spot if you're out there? I love that. We start off every Monday. Tell me something good.
Okay.
You know, instead of the whining, the complaining, or the money grabbing, whatever it is, tell me something good. Let's start with you. Tell me something good.
So something that's really, really good right now is I got to be with Brandon. I mean, you guys, we just had Brandon. We have a 14-year-old kid in here.
I need my wife and kids to start feeling more that way. Like, honey, it's just good hang with me, no?
It is true, but I'm not kidding. Like Brandon, we've known each other for over 11 years now, and you just keep upping your game.
Well, thank you.
So my tell me something good is surround yourself literally with people that inspire you and that drive you with positive, great energy. I've got rid of all the negative people in my life, and now I'm just only dealing with those people that make me want to play at a bigger game. And that's something good. And that's how I feel when I'm with you. 100%.
I love that. Well, we could talk about the Hero Club, or we could talk a little about your dad. I mean, how's the inspiration? Tell me about your dad. He was a great coach.
So, yeah.
Big effect on you?
Oh, huge effect. I mean, my dad, and I mean, you've met my dad. He's still alive. He's just amazing, amazing human. And there's just a few things that he taught me. The biggest one was accountability. And so there was a time in my life, I mean, I can tell story after story, but he taught me how to be a great leader by watching him. Sometimes, you know, our actions speak so loud we don't hear what you say, but that can be a positive thing or a negative thing. And my dad one time when I was young, I mean, here's a perfect example of what he did. I had the prom. He let me use the truck. And he said, Randy, we got to feed the cows. I grew up in Idaho, Sugar City, Idaho, a little sweet town.
You fed cows?
We fed cows.
Really? Literally?
We literally fed cows. You get hay, you load it in the truck, you go out there.
I've never gotten that close to a cow. What's that like?
Listen, we've done some fun stuff. We're going to go feed cows next time you come out.
All right.
They're
still barking at me for shooting at those poor ducks. Man, duck hunting.
That was actually good. We're going to do some fly fishing.
Accountability.
But accountability. So he said, Randy, be home at 11 o'clock. We got to get up early. We got a lot of stuff to do. It's Saturday. I got a game coming up. He's a football coach for 29 years. And so I I'm with my friends, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's 11:10. Dude, I got to get home. My dad's gonna kill me. And if you knew my dad, you knew he was I know he's sitting in his chair. He's waiting for me. He's pacing. I get home at 11:30 because I had to. The guys were, you'll be fine. Everything. I get home at 11:30. I walk in the door. My dad's not there. All the lights are up. I'm like, man, I've got this. I'm in. I sneak in my bedroom, lights off, sneak in, get ready to just pounce in my bed, pull the covers back. There's my dad. He's sleeping in my bed. And what did he do? He said, Randy, what time is it? I said, Dad, it's 11:37. What time did you tell me you were going to be home? 11 o'clock. Okay, well, what did I tell you if you're not home? You don't get the truck for prom. He said, all right, let's say prayers together. Good night, son, I love you. We knelt down, said prayers. He went to bed, get up in the morning. I'm like, hey, I'm going to get the truck. This is going to be forget. What do you think he did, Brandon?
You didn't get that truck.
I didn't get the truck.
But the thing about the coming home at night and everything, what I was a fan of with my kids, I said, look, if you're supposed to be home, this was, a few years ago, but if you had to be home at midnight and you're running late, you got to call me. You can't just come home at 12:30 or 1. You got to call me, and not at 5 after 12. Like, at a quarter to 12 you're going to be late. That means you're accountable. I don't want you speeding home trying to make the whistle. No, it's not like that. But you're going to be late. Call me at quarter to 12. Say, listen, time got away from me. I'm going to be 15 minutes late. I'm going to be 30 minutes late, but I'll be home pretty close to, you can't call me and be home at 12, come home at 1. But, I don't want you racing home and speeding so you can get home at 10 after 12. Who cares if you come at 20 after 12 or 12:30? But you're going to be late. It kills me like when employees... But no, 8:30 in the morning when they got to be here at 8:30. Like, you knew you were going to be sick last night.
But listen, if somebody says they're going to do something,
that's not accountability.
If somebody says they're going to do something,
you got to do it.
I mean, you do what you did, right?
Nobody does nobody does the right thing.
Some people do.
They do. I should have some faith.
You should have some faith.
Let me ask you a question.
But it starts early.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
When I think of you, when I think of Randy Garn, I think of the ultimate relationship initiator, builder, connector. What's the key? Because a lot of people out there, they've got an idea. They're an entrepreneur. What's your key to relationship building? Because you have so many relationships. You know so many people, and you're always connecting people. How do you do it?
I've got a system. I've got a process. But a lot of it, I think, comes naturally. And, and I started early in my life. I'm a New York Times bestseller. We've done that several times. We've built and sold many companies. And I kind of got into the place where, instead of being the artist, I like being the record label. Now, listen to this, okay? Because you could be the artist. I get asked to speak all the time and do things, but I actually love putting people together and orchestrating deals together. And I do it in such a way that really is called the velocity of relationship, VOR. It's how can you shorten that cycle from the time that you get a deal, and the most important asset is trust, that you do what you say you're going to do. And so
back to your dad.
It goes back to my dad. And so if you call me and you say, hey Randy, connect me up with this guy, we'll get it done, right? And so you start building up that goodwill, and that you talk about the long game. It's been years since we've been building this up. Like you said, even to yourself, like, man, all the stuff that I've been building up is now starting to manifest. And I think that that's happening in my life right now.
You got to remember to play the long game, but nobody wants to play the long game, but they want the long game result. If you want the long game result, you got to do all the things that a long game entitles, which is patience, working things, building trust, communicating, helping people when it's not convenient, calling people up not because you need something or want something, but because it's building a relationship is a back and forth proposition. And nobody wants to do it when they don't think there's anything in it for them at the moment. But the long game doesn't keep score.
Well, it's just like you always say, do as much as you can for as many people as you can, as often as you can, without expecting anything in return. And that I learned from you. And I've learned a lot of this from you over the last 11 years. I mean, you are so freaking amazing at what I call, so literally it's building up those relationships, doing stuff without asking. So reciprocity, the law of reciprocity. The second thing as part of my system is experience economy.
Tell me about that. How's that work?
So experience economy is, and I can use Steiner Sports as a great example of that. When I sold my first company, I'm partners with a group that have a private fly fishing resort.
I love that. You're talking about the Hero Club? Or you're
Yeah,
talking
no. This is the Bronze Buffalo Club.
Bronx Buffalo Club. Right? Yeah.
So we
which
have
we're
a
coming
private,
next month, by the way.
Which you're coming next month.
NCAA, baby.
Yeah, that's what I'm
22nd,
talking about. Let's get
23rd.
this done.
I love it.
So if you can go have an experience with somebody, you've just shortened that time and that speed of which you're building that relationship with.
So do something with someone that has nothing to do with what you're trying to do, but just quality time together to get to know each other.
Just quality time together so that they get to know you, because sometimes doing deals and doing business and relationships is also about the chemistry, because you don't do business with people that just I mean, it's not worth the juice ain't worth the squeeze, right? Sometimes it's just not. You can make a lot of money, but man, at the end of the day, it's not worth it.
Doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel right. So the way that when you do experiences, like we went pheasant hunting, it was a blast, We had
I still feel a little guilty. I think I'm going right to hell for killing that duck.
No, you missed it. I made you feel like you hit it, but you missed it.
Thank you.
You
Thank
missed
you,
it,
God.
Coach.
I knew there was
you're good.
I knew there was something behind the silver lining here. And I knew I can't shoot for shit. So good for you, man. Thanks, buddy. I don't want to kill a poor animal, man. There's no room for that.
But we did cook it.
But I'm never going duck hunting again, by the way. You got me on that one time, but
yeah,
killing those poor animals.
But when we do go fishing, we do put them back.
That's true.
And so that's always fun.
Yeah.
So we'll go do experiences. We took a group of people up. We rented helicopters. We flew into the trout ranch. We fly fished. We rode horses. We did shotgun shooting. We did sniper rifles. And we brainstormed together and we said, how can we help each other out? And that was so powerful. But you do the same thing. You used to just have athletes. You'd do autographs. But now you'll have, like I came here when you had Mike Tyson. And we had an experience with Mike Tyson. You probably did more revenue and more sales volume by bringing Tyson in, and you can charging them. So the experience economy helps you to actually drive more value, and actually people will pay more because of that, and your relationships will go deeper.
Do stuff with people that you're going to have fun and enjoy doing, so that much more lightly you can get to know each other and experience some trust and some values. Right, like Brendan Bouchard, Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a good way to get to know him. We go to see Bruce.
And
right?
and guess what? He talks about that every time he sees you. He's like, dude, how's Brandon doing? I said, he's great. And he did the back of your book. Yeah. But he had a fantastic time. And that would have never happened if you would have just went to dinner or we, would brought him here. Part of building relationships, you've got to invest. You got to water it. It is like perishable. So you got to keep it fertile. You have to.
I agree with that 100%. Tell me, what's the hardest thing you've had to do as far as getting a company started or getting something started, and then you finally broke through?
Man, because we've all had failures. We've got a couple of really fun things happening right now. I think the hardest thing with, especially getting a company starting, actually isn't raising the capital. A lot of people think, man, raising the capital is some of the hardest things. The hardest thing ever is to get complete clarity and alignment with your team. People. That's the most important. I've got a place right now where I do not like to hire anybody or bring anybody on if they're out of a job. It's against my personal constitution.
Why?
If they don't have a job, then they're probably not worth employing. And it's really interesting. I know a lot of people are out there and be like, man, they may need a chance or whatever. But I have had a lot of unsuccessful people that I brought on. Let's give them a chance. I go get only A players now.
Even if they're an A waiter or a bartender or whatever?
Yeah, even if they're an A waiter, bartender, whatever, go find the very best and only surround yourself with the best people around you. That's how I've found the most successful to be able to start a company is to find the right people. Incentivize them right, but then find the right people that are self-starters, that are not just entrepreneurs, but entrepreneurs. So they know how to create. They know how to think. Brandon, how many people out there don't know how to think? Or don't want to think. They just want to be told what to do. And that way that wears you out.
There's room for a few of those people, but not many. Not many.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a killer. Talent acquisition isn't taught enough about. I would teach how you acquire talent. It's one of the reasons why I love the fraternity system, is because you're doing pledging. You're doing all these nights where you've got to go recruit new, and that's really about learning. And then you're going through all the processes of who to take in the fraternity or sorority, who to take out, and that's a whole. And where do you go get those kids, and where are they from? Are they hard workers? Are they pay their dues? It's kind of similar, right? When you talk about that fraternity, that's why I love it. I think it gets lost, the fraternity system. Some of the good things about, you want to have a self-starter because you can't pay these kids. They're in your house. You got to want them to make the house better. You got to want them to do community work. And I think the fraternity system gets drowned out with some of the nonsense that happens in a couple of houses when all this good stuff is happening.
Well, and the thing is too, you've got to teach people you've got to find people that know how to be innovative and think, but you also have to find those people that are willing to give. And we talked about it just earlier. It's like, are they all in? Yeah. Are you all in what you're doing? And even if you're working on several things, are you giving everything you have every day to life?
It's like the chow mein story.
It's the chow mein story. Dude, you got to tell that story, bro.
It's unbelievable.
I love that.
I'm going to do a blog tomorrow about the chow mein story.
If you haven't heard the chow mein story, well, that's one we got to get Brandon to tell. This is a classic. I've never heard that story before.
Not only can you be all in, or if you're managing people, can you get them with that level of intensity where they want to be here. They're not looking at their clock.
Right.
So it's like, as much as I hate when my people are clock watching, I hate myself because I've been able to inspire them to want to stay later, to want to stay more. Not every night, not all the time, but if you have a bunch of people that are paycheck players, you got to look at yourself and wonder, like, why, what kind of soiree, what kind of group are you leading that you haven't made it interesting, you haven't challenged your people enough. And I wrote something about this the other day. It's like, what people really want isn't happiness.
Yeah,
it's such an overused word, happiness. What they really want is they want to be in a place where people care about them and they care about other people. They want to be in a collaboration. They want to be communicated with. They want to feel like inclusion breeds commitment. They're included in the process. They're included in decisions. There's communication coming to them. They not only love what they do, they love who they're doing it for. Right? They not only care about how well they do, they care about how well the company does. And in order to do that, you got to be able to share the wins and the losses with your people. Even though some of that stuff may be out of their range of understanding, you got to break it down so they understand what winning and losing is. Most people that work for most companies don't even know if their own company's winning or losing.
That's what I'm talking about. Alignment.
Yeah.
So the reason why is the way that you can get people engaged is, and this comes from our buddy Tyler Norton. Like, I got to give him credit for this one.
It's not, though, because Tyler Norton, I've seen Casper the Friendly Ghost more than I've seen Tyler.
So Tyler,
I'm watching old Tyler Norton videos now just to try to remember even what he looks like.
Because he is amazing. He is amazing. We can't let that paint dry. We got to get him back.
Follow Tyler Norton because he is a strategy maniac and one of the smartest guys we've ever met.
So one thing that he said, and I'll tell you this, like, if you don't have your strategy on one page, you don't have a strategy. And I can't tell you how many companies, it's just like everyone I go into, it's like your employees have to know where you're going. Like, if you don't have your own goals, somebody else will use you for theirs.
Oh, that's a painful one.
Say it again. If you don't have your own goals, somebody else will use you for theirs. And so how do you be a really good leader and get your whole company aligned on one page? And so they're like, I got this.
But most people can't do it.
No, it's hard.
It's hard.
It's actually easy to talk about.
Yeah.
But it's very, very hard to do.
Figure out who your exact customer is, what's the one defining thing you want to accomplish, and what's the most important objective you want to accomplish, not all over the place. And then you get into your strategies, how you're going to accomplish it. Most people can't agree on the 3 or 4 principles to help you get that.
Yeah. And Brendan Burchard has a killer book, High Performing Habits.
Love that book.
Number one. It is unreal. I've read it like 20 times. The number one thing is clarity. Search for clarity and then raise necessity. And so raising necessity is they got to be clear first. They got to have that one page. And then you got to raise the necessity. There's got to be some urgency around stuff. If there's no deadlines, if there's no timelines, I signed up for the Kona Half Ironman. I'm running it June 1st.
No.
Yeah.
And what's your urgency behind that?
The urgency behind it? Because I gotta lose some cheese whiz, coach. I gotta get down like 16 pounds. And I said, I'm never gonna do this unless I set a goal. And so I've been hitting it hard. I've been going hard. But now June 1's coming, and it's a half Ironman. I've never ran an Ironman before. It's in Kona. I'm going to be biking. I'm going with 7 CEOs that are freaking in amazing shape. And so I got to up my A game, and I'm excited about it. But I'm going to do it. But unless I had that deadline, I would just keep moseying along and nothing would change. So you got to do that for yourself, and you also have to do that for your employees. How do you raise that urgency and that necessity? But it's actually you got to drive clarity first.
Now, you run a couple of big companies. Do you miss that? You're in transition now of working different companies? Do you like the idea of running a company with a lot of people, or do you like the idea of running companies through and connecting them?
So my biggest skill set is getting the right teams in place. And I mean, we have some really, really super fun companies. One of them is Parachute.co. It's Parachute without a C. We're growing the whole experience economy. It's the access economy. So we have all this digital camera equipment. You can't see the other side of this, but I mean, we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 probably cameras going here. We got microphones. So instead of paying 10 grand for a drone, we're really creating the Netflix of stuff. Instead of paying 10 grand for a drone, you can actually get it. Like, you have a drone and I want it, and you can put it in a circulation. I pay $199 a month, and I can get a $10,000 drone, keep it for as long as I want, and send it back. And then we pay you money. It's going nuts. We're in TechCrunch, Forbes, Inc., and so it's a really, really fun one that's growing like crazy, and I'm super excited about.
Cool. How's Scipio doing?
Good. Going awesome. It's a mobile text marketing company.
What do you tell people out there? Scipio is a mobile text company, so you can mass text people, which I love. Love that scheme. What do you tell people out there, for young people out there that have an idea and they're stuck? What do you tell people that are young that have an idea and they just can't expedite it?
So there's a difference. There's a humongous difference between, I always say, what's bigger, the idea or execution? I mean, I'd love the audience. I mean, what's more important, idea or the execution?
Well, Joe Palmieri always says execution beats strategy for breakfast.
Yeah, but execution beats strategy for breakfast. But you got to literally have both.
You got to have both.
You got to have both. I mean, every time, I probably get about 50-50 a lot of times when I speak to entrepreneurs and things like that. I just spoke at a high school in Utah, and I said, what's more important? And they're debating and going back and forth. But so many people have fantastic ideas. Until that idea actually starts making money, until you actually are starting to get money from people, it's still an idea. Until there's an economic engine and you're actually starting to collect funds, then that's a business. Then you can start to execute. So will the dog eat the dog food? Is what you got to ask yourself. So,
and if it doesn't, you don't have anything.
If it doesn't, then you go back to the drawing board and you keep going. You keep ideating, you keep innovating, but you got to collect a check. You got to go out there and you got to be able to make a sale, because nothing else happens in this world. There's no blood flow unless there's economics coming through. And so you got to be able to have a customer pay. If you want to raise capital, if you want to raise, seed money, VC money, private equity money, you've actually got to prove to them that you can make a sell and that the consumer is willing to buy. Now, you don't always have to be profitable in today's world.
So you're a big sample guy.
Yeah.
You like sample? I'm a big sampling guy now.
Yeah.
Dream big, sample small, and fail quick.
Dream big, sample small, fail quick, but win faster.
Do you think that, does it surprise you how many people can't get past first base?
Yeah. I mean, it is, and some of it is their inability to pull. I mean, a lot of people don't go upstream. So if you want to be a really good business leader and you're hanging around people that haven't been successful, like, I think that's what we've done well with, like, the round table we've been a part of, the Harvey McKay round table.
I love Dan Clark says, if you're hanging out with 5 stupid people, you're going to be the 6th. You're hanging out with 4 very motivated people, you'll be the 5th under motivated person. And I think it's very important with our children. Try 100%. To have your kids hang out with the kind of people that they ultimately want to be. And it's very easy to not take that seriously. Yeah. I take that very seriously. I think your friends and the people you hang with have a big part of who you are. Don't you think?
Oh, I mean, 100%. I mean, one of the advisory boards I'm on with, we're building software with Solution Stream for some of the biggest companies out there. And it's an amazing, amazing company. But I love the guys that work with there. And that's like, they're super bright. They have a different skill set than me, right? Yeah. Engineers, developers, designers, they can take stuff. And so also why a lot of people don't do well is because they do not take time to find people that actually overcome their weaknesses. So building a team, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, build a great team. And so I think a lot of people want to be a solopreneur, And you're not going to make a lot of money sometimes being a solopreneur. Even if you want to be an influencer or, do some of those things, you still got to have a team. You got to be able to lead and manage. And so I would say if you're having a hard time getting money, if you're having a hard time, growing your company, go get an advisory board.
People to help you.
Go get somebody that's good on legal, marketing, finance, and engineering, because everybody needs technology now. You can't build a company anymore without knowing how to build software or how to, come up with things that are going to be very user friendly. It's critical. It's critical.
Drew, do we get any good quotes from any of those movies?
We got some stuff from Rudy. If you build it, they will come. And Field of Dreams.
Love that. Of course.
We need more.
That should be the theme of this pod, by the way.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah,
that is a good one.
Field of Dreams
that
quote.
is a good one.
That. 2 feet 2 inches. And so that's if somebody just posts that again, I'm gonna throw up like the Al Pacino.
Yeah.
The football one. Oh God. But there's nothing like a good movie though.
There's nothing.
There's nothing like it.
Nothing like a good sports movie.
I love talking about great movies. I love that movie on Queen.
I haven't seen it yet. Is it phenomenal?
Very motivational and really interesting as far as sometimes what it takes to do extraordinary work. And some of the different directions and twists and curves that you have to take to get there. And that's what people don't talk enough about. It's like, don't wish too hard for what you want. You may get it, but understand what that road is like to get there. Isn't a straight line. There's no local train to success. It's a train that gets on a lot of tracks and derailed and all kinds of different messes along the way. If you have the tolerance for that, great. But, a lot of people, they just, all of a sudden something happens, a bump on the road, and they're on the side of the road for forever and a day. You're going to be ready to go on a sailboat on a day when you can't predict the weather and be able to take that wind as it comes.
I mean, seriously. But I think, to go to that point as well, like Queen is, I'd rather be a lonely lion than a friendly sheep. And so you think about what he did. Anybody that's done anything extraordinary hasn't done it by doing the status quo. No. I mean, ever. And so, like you buying the Yankee Stadium. I still see some bricks out there and some stuff around.
I love those bricks. They're sexy.
They are. Look at this. Oh, they're right here. This is it. Look at that.
It's a sexy brick. Man.
It's hot. That is. It's dead
just
sexy.
A brick. That's a sexy brick. But you saw I pulled out the Notre Dame bricks and some Fenway Park bricks. Those are sexy too.
But
not as sexy as the Yankee ones though.
But I think that a lot of people don't succeed in business because they do not have the guts to be different. They think they have to do it just like everybody else. And so I look investing in companies and entrepreneurs that are doing things completely different and things that are transforming the way that we actually either communicate or talk or buy.
Cool. When are you coming out with your new book? When's Prosper coming back?
We're actually going to re-release it. We're looking to release it in October.
Is
Ethan
there another book coming after that, or you just release Prosper?
We're dreaming and scheming on some stuff.
Don't be stealing my dreaming and scheming. By the way, I'm starting on Instagram, dreaming and scheming all my tactics of how to get your ass and your foot in the door. All right. I can't wait. This is gonna be a lot of fun. Drew, you pumping this up on Instagram?
Of course. Yeah.
How am I like 2 steps ahead of the young ones in this office? How did that happen? When did our roles get reversed?
Not sure.
Unbelievable, man. Ridiculous. Any other good one-liners from those quotes?
Nothing from the books, but question for Randy.
Okay.
Who
is
Randy's favorite author?
Ooh, that's a good one. Who is my...
Oh, boy. I'm going to let you go with 2. Give me 2. Because
okay.
And obviously excluding Harvey McKay because we're very biased.
Yeah.
And don't forget Brandon Steiner.
Never McKay because if you haven't read any Harvey McKay books, you're probably not even on this platform because that's gold.
Yeah.
Why would you not invest in gold?
Never trust a naked man who offers you his shirt
off his back. Yeah.
Off his back.
Or swimming with the sharks.
The sharks. Or how to use your head to get your foot in the door. It's really interesting. So my favorite business book author of all time that I love and I've read everything that he has is Ken Blanchard. Servant Leadership is, 1 Minute Manager.
He's coming to speak. He's coming in the spring.
He's coming here in the spring.
Open forum. Yeah, love Ken.
Ken is a legend, and he's just the most awesome human. As far as other books go, one of my favorite books is The Alchemist.
What's that about?
I want you to read it. You will love this book.
Give me one line on it.
So it's about, you think about what is an alchemist, It's how to make money, how to make gold. But what he learns in that is that he really finds out that it was all in front of him all the time, and relationships are always more important than money. And
I'm buying that book today. I love that. I love Ogmandini too, the most successful person in the world.
Yeah, greatest salesman in the world.
40-page book.
Ogmandino.
I give that to more kids, and it's what it's all about, which is serving, helping others, not just about a money grab. He nails it in 45 pages.
I mean,
Great book.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, what's interesting, there's a lot of great books. There's actually some really great new authors that are coming out. I really love Brendan. I really love, High Performing Habits has been just, amazing book. The book, The Go-Giver, is another great one. I don't know if you've ever read that one.
I like The Go-Giver. I didn't love it, but I like it.
Yeah.
I didn't love it. I mean, there's so many other books like that. I feel like that, The Fred Factor, or, I just picked up an oldie but goodie, Sandbox Wisdom.
Oh, that was
an oldie but goodie, about really just getting your house in order. It goes back to, we were just talking about that kid before, fundamentals in business is like forgotten.
Yeah.
And then people want to know why their profits are down.
But my all-time, and this is my all-time favorite book, it was given to me by a great mentor of mine when I was 17 years old, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
No question.
I've read it hundreds of times. Dale Carnegie.
Think if you're going to go into business,
it's a must.
You're a college student, high school student, it should be mandatory reading. Mandatory. I've given out hundreds of copies of that book. It's mandatory. That and How to Sell Anybody Anything by Joe Girard.
I haven't even read that one.
It's a 101, one of the greatest car salesmen in the world. And he just talks about 101 about how to develop relationships, how to follow up, and how to put a system in place. I made millions of dollars off that theme.
Interesting.
And scheme.
Do you have one in your office?
You bet I do.
Okay,
multiple copies.
I need a good book for the plane ride home.
One of my highlights is when I figured out, Joe's like, well, in his 70s, maybe now in his 80s, and we schemed out how to get him up here to speak. And it was everything I was hoped it would be. The man was on fire, great speaker, and I can't give out enough of his books. Now, his style of selling is a little bit older, because there's no more Rolodexes. You're not really focused on giving out business cards, but the concept is still there.
Yeah.
By the way, Drew, if we don't start with the dragons, you didn't bring the dragons into this. The Imagine Dragons now need to be part of our pod every time. What's wrong with you?
We got to get the Imagine Dragons out here.
Jeez.
That's what we need to do.
Another Utah guy.
That's it,
Dan Reynolds.
Yeah, Dan Reynolds.
Have you ever met him?
Oh, Dan's great.
I gotta meet Dan Reynolds, man. That's crazy. I love Dan Reynolds.
Let's see if we can get. Let's see if we can get Dan.
On my man Dan. I mean, his lyrics are just great. Him and Lady Gaga are probably two of the more authentic artists of our time, talking about stuff that nobody wants to talk about: mental health, struggles, things that people, depression, and really just talking about some of the honest struggles you have, especially even when you become successful. And I love the two of them, how they bring that front and center.
Yeah, he wrote a really good song for one of my friends, Jesse Robinson, Tyler Robinson Foundation, and they're just good people.
Yeah,
amazing.
Dan's a great songwriter, and I hope his life continues to stay on track. I know he's had some ups and downs, but he's amazing, and I love that band. Everybody knows that's my favorite band. And then I'm loving Lady Gaga. I'm loving what she's talking about, and I like her humility and her creativity, and she's special, man. We're blessed to have her because she's talking about stuff that nobody wants to talk about, and she doesn't sugarcoat it.
That's what I do love. Any artist or any entrepreneur, or when they've arrived at a certain level, you can really see their real character.
I think fame and fortune always brings out who you truly are.
100%.
Right?
It really does. And you think about,
how does that guy making all that money act like such an asshole? Because he was an asshole before he made the money, and now it's just broadcasted and magnified it.
It manifests a lot of times like who you truly are,
exactly,
and how you're going to treat people. And I mean, honestly, that's why because you do well. This is amazing, but the way that you show up every single day, Brandon, is an inspiration to me. I mean, to the athletes. I mean, we were just in there. Mariano Rivera calls you on the phone. You treat him just the same as you treat us.
Worse.
Yeah,
no,
probably, maybe.
You have to. I mean, somebody's got to keep that ego in check. Nah, he's the nicest guy on the planet.
He really is. He's amazing.
But we're in the thick and thin of it. It reminds me of his final year when we were just every day with the calls and what we're scheming with him. It's hard because he's doing so much good work for so many people that he wants to help. It's hard to get him to go for the money grab. It's frustrating. can we make some money, Mo? You've helped enough people. He goes, no, I need to help more people. Don't worry about the money. Kills me. That kind of righteous attitude. What's wrong with him?
But you know what? It's working for him.
It is. He's so special, and he's taught me how
He is.
important it is to give, and and he's taught me about how important faith, and that faith and helping people can supersede everything. Because the joy of that and the opportunity of that is it's not a burden. He's the guy who said, Brandon, helping people is not a burden. It's an opportunity. It's a joy.
You know what's interesting about that?
And he showed me.
You know why faith is so important in the long game? Because you're doing it for a bigger reason. People that don't have a lot of faith, their short game is sometimes they're like scorching earth.
Yeah, you're probably right.
They're just seeing how much they can get and accumulate and acquire. But when you're in it for the long game, someday you're going to have to account for something to somebody, bigger and bigger than us. So that's actually what helps me in my long game. I try to stay really stable on my faith.
I got some big screens up there, man. And I got my issue really with God. I don't have a lot of them. Although I would like some of these big issues we're having down on the planet, you know. I like them to maybe cut out plastic. There's too many kids that are in poverty, 1 in 4 in this country. And we're not even talking about the numbers in this country. But I just, could he have made me a little taller?
But you've got some other skills, though.
If he sends me back, that's like one of my, it's like, Brian, you have to go back. Your work isn't done, which I'm thinking is a possibility.
It could be.
I'm
you
asking
never
for
know.
some more height. I don't really want much more. I like everything he's given me. I'm blessed, so grateful. I just want a couple more inches so I could dunk. You know what I mean?
Dude, you do have some basketball. You have some hops, bro.
It's not. For a white, slow Jewish guy, yeah. But I want hops like hops. I want to be able to dunk.
But you want to dunk on Shaq. You want to dunk on Carmel.
I want to dunk on anybody that gets me really pissed. Sunday, I wanted to dunk and I couldn't even get off.
But think about it. You and I both, if I ask for more height,
it's a big ask,
forget
Randy,
about it.
For you. That's
a big ask.
It's
But forget about it. Can you imagine me at 6'2"?
What would you ask for, though, if you went up to the White Pearl Gates and God said, I like your attitude. You've been a really good soul, and I'm going to need you to go back, but I'm going to give you one wish before I send you back, and you got to take care of some other business you didn't finish, but I'm going to give you one wish. What would you ask for?
That's a good question. I'll tell what I would ask for. That's a really good question. If I could go back and ask God for something,
I'll ask all of you that question.
Let's
if you
do that.
Go back,
if you could
go
go
up to the White Pearly Gates, and God says, He's sizing up, your performance on this planet, and He's deciding whether to send you back. All of a sudden, He goes, I'm sending you back. You got more work to do. What would be the one thing you'd ask for more of? Because He's asking you, I'm going to give you something. I want you to ask me for one thing, and I will give you more of them. And I'll grant you that wish.
I have it.
And it could be selfish, because you got some work to do that's going to be selfless, but I'll give you one selfish wish. What would it be? I'd love to hear your answer to that. I'm asking for some more height. I know that's probably selfish and short-sighted, but just being in the park on a Saturday and dunking over some of my friends and some of the people that have abused me on the court because they were just taller than me, I would really love that.
So a really good...
Selfishly speaking, I'm sure I'd like to get world hunger conquered, and there's a whole bunch, peace, and really, there's a bunch of things, but selfishly, remember, God said, be selfish on this one thing. Well, maybe was God trying to trick you with that question? Maybe.
No, that's the thing. I think He is, and that's why I was going to answer. Like, we're His hands. We got to feed more kids. We got to do it. You don't ask, man, God's on my side. No, we better hope that we're on His side.
That's true.
But here's the other thing.
So if you could talk to God, what would you say?
I'd ask Him to give me more challenges. I'd ask Him to give me more trials. When a really good guy that I admire spiritually and everything, he said, "Man, I need more mountains to climb." That's what makes me stronger, and that's what makes me more like him. Is more mountains to climb. Give me the struggles, because that's actually through the pain and the sacrifices where the joy comes, and where you really understand joy is if you haven't been through stuff. You can't enjoy it. We've been through there's been days where it's like, dude, how am I going to make payroll? I've been on my, so it's maybe more mountains to climb.
Wow. We'll have to hear from you on this subject.
You got two responders.
What do we got?
That one conversation with God. What would you ask for?
They didn't fall for it either. We got one saying, Jeff, unlimited resources to help people. And the other, Paul, saying a way to help educate everyone.
Education
is.
You know what kills me? I see these developers, and I love Amazon. How could you not? They're coming to New York, and people in New York are going crazy. Yeah. Could you build a new school? I know you're going to train your people. I know you're going to make sure there's some extra subways to make sure your people can get to and from work. How about just building a school? When was the last time you went into an urban city and saw a new school being built, or a new police station, or a new firehouse being built? So all these people come in, they do the money grab, they're building all this stuff. What are they putting into the community above and beyond what's good for them in the bigger picture, which ultimately will help them anyway? And I say very little. This is my problem with government and some of the people running our government. They cut these deals. There's tax breaks and all these things. And I get it. You got to do that to lure in. But where's the give back? The forced give back.
Actually, who asked that question? Because I mean, that is
about knowledge.
I mean, no, about
education.
Well, knowledge and education.
Yeah, it's
so
so important.
It's Paul. So Paul, you're the man. We are coming out with some like companies like Amazon, Apple. You know what's happening. There is technology right now that could educate like kids all over the world. And we actually have the videos to be able to do it and the trainings to be able to do it. We just have to find a way to deploy it. And so I do think that some of that's coming, but I would agree with them. I think education is something we've got to conquer, because that's actually the root that can help us get the knowledge base that we need to create and develop and to innovate.
I'm hoping that we can start out by having better schools and paying our teachers more money, and then it's more enticing to have more interesting people teaching and a better place to learn. It probably is going to be a better place for people to want to go, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Why wouldn't we put more into that? I mean, that just makes sense to me. Anyway, we're all over the place today. I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Dr. Bloom. That's Randy Garn. How do we get a hold of you, Randy?
Just Randy at randygarn.com.
A deal maker, a shaker and a mover, and a dreamer and a schemer. Just why I love him. He's right in my sweet spot, and a good friend.